AITA for bringing my whole family to confront my wife after someone exposed her affair? I thought I knew my wife, until a text from an unknown number changed everything in minutes. She kissed my shoulder, slid out of bed, and said, "No peeking. I'm making the good bacon." The line should have been harmless, but it sounded odd, almost rehearsed. Alyssa moved through the kitchen just as she always did. Barefoot, hair up, the radio playing softly. The house smelled like coffee and butter. I set the table, pulling plates from the overhead cabinet, trying not to read into anything more than was necessary. We had been doing this for years. She handled breakfast, I handled dinner. It was not a chore list, it was our rhythm. "You're too quiet for your own birthday," she teased, serving scrambled eggs with chives. "I'm saving all my energy for tonight," I said. "I plan to impress your mother by not burning the roast." "She adores you," she said, sitting in the chair across from me. "She complains because it's her form of cardio." We ate, we joked, we discussed headlines. When I stood up to rinse the dishes, she pressed against my back the way she always did and gave me a warm, familiar hug. Then, her phone vibrated on the counter. She picked it up, her face flushing, and turned the screen face down. "Work?" I asked, drying my hands. She shook her head. "Nothing. Don't be nosy on your birthday. Not allowed." If I had known where this was going, I would have lit another candle. That day she packed her bag, called from the hallway that she might pop out for lunch and grab something for later, and blew me a kiss at the door. I went to my workshop for an hour, checked some client emails, then came back to start the party prep. Family, friends, string lights in the yard, a long table, simple, loud hours. I went over the list we had made together. Charcuterie board, salads, the roast, cupcakes. My sister, Brielle, was bringing something. Cooler with ice. Our best friends, Daniel from the construction crew and his wife Vanessa, were coming early to help set up. At 9 in the morning, Alyssa texted, "Morning. I need to meet someone. I'll be back soon." "Sure. See you later," I typed. It sounded like a surprise mission, but I was not 12. Fine. Let her have her fun building the mystery. I kept setting things up. The house was ready, the music checked, the plates lined up like soldiers on the table. I put out the good cloth napkins because Alyssa loved them, and because it is the kind of detail she adores. Around 11 in the morning, the sun warmed the patio. Colin, our next-door neighbor and the condo's resident philosopher, leaned over the fence. "You're the birthday boy," he said. "You need my folding chairs. I'll bring them over and pretend I'm self-sufficient." He brought over a stack, and we arranged the seating. "I'm at the store. Need anything?" he asked. "Tell her the tomato vines are not condo-approved art." He grinned. Then he lowered his voice. "You guys throw good parties. Happy for you, man." "Thanks, Colin. I meant it. I wanted tonight to be loud and uncomplicated. I wanted my people around me." At noon, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Your wife is with my husband." A location pin was attached to the message. I sat on the arm of the sofa because my legs forgot how to work. I looked again. Same line, same pin. A mid-priced restaurant 10 minutes away. The place Alyssa and I sometimes went on Fridays when we did not want to do dishes. I called the number. It rang and rang until it went silent. I called Alyssa. Straight to voicemail. I tried again. Nothing. "Okay," I said to the empty room, because sometimes hearing yourself makes it real. I could have driven over there. I did not because I was afraid, but because I wanted facts, not theater. You walk into a place at noon looking suspicious, then what? You make a scene? That's for teenagers. If a line was being crossed, the house would feel it that night. There would be people there, people who love us, people who could read eyes and hands and the distances between chairs. If I was wrong, no harm done. If I was not, it would settle the argument for good. So I set my own rule. No calls, no chasing. I would wait. She would walk where she chose, and I would move the pieces. Brielle called from her SUV. I brought the cupcakes and the candles. "Do you want the sparkler kind? They seem like a fire hazard." "The normal ones are fine. Everything's on track." She can read the air like a meteorologist. I'm adjusting the seating chart. "For who?" "For the truth," I said. "Just mark it down as you being philosophical, not weird. Get here an hour early." "Deal," she said. "I'll bring a bottle that tastes like celebration and regret." There was another text from Alyssa. "Running around. I promise you're going to like it." I stared at the 3 pulsing dots for longer than I should have. I typed a heart, then deleted it. I typed, "Great. See you later." Just that. Daniel came by at 2. He is 6'3" and puts his hands to work like the wood owes him compliments. He looked at me, then at the neat rows of dishes. "You're lining things up in straight lines," he said. "That's your tell." "People notice the dumbest things," I replied. "What do you need?" "I need to keep my word. If I say I'm in charge, I'm in charge." He nodded. "I'll get the drinks on ice. Vanessa's handling the flowers. You breathe, count to 20, and pretend you love silverware." Pretending's not my thing. That's why I like you. But pretend anyway. By 4, the house was ready. I showered, shaved, and put on the shirt Alyssa got me for a conference last year, her favorite. I looked in the mirror and thought, "You were happy this morning. That's not a crime." The unknown number did not answer on the next 3 tries. I stopped calling. I wiped down counters that did not even need it. I programmed the roast timer. I checked the pin on my phone, unintelligible and stubborn. At 5, I made the decision that would define everything. I sent a text to the family group chat. Change of plans. Dinner's at 6:30 in the evening at the Emerson on Maple. Whoever wants to join, meet here at 6 so we can caravan over. No surprises, just trying something different. Vanessa replied, "That place is hard to get into. Birthday magic, pulling strings." "Pulling strings," I wrote back. I did not call the restaurant. I did not need to. A walk-in works if you bring a smile and the pressure of a party. And if they could not take us, we would be at their door anyway. This was not about a reservation. It was about a revelation, however it happened. At 5:30, Alyssa finally texted. "Traffic. I'll be there around 6. Don't start without me. By the way, did you hide the lighter? I can't find anything in this kitchen." I had moved the lighter yesterday, to the drawer closer to the stove. I could picture her overacting the irritation, faking normalcy. It would have been easier to get angry right then. But I was not angry. I wrote, "We're going to the Emerson. Meet us there." She replied with a string of dots. Then, "Since when?" "Since now." "It'll be fun," I added. "Great," she replied. "See you there." Brielle walked in with the cupcakes at 6, took one look at my face, and set the box on the floor. "What happened?" "Nothing I can't handle." "That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting before dinner." "You're impossible," she said, but softer. "I'll drive behind you. If anyone needs protecting, I can be loud on demand." "That's my sister," I said. The family arrived in waves. My mom, my father-in-law, Gordon, with his silent chin, Alyssa's mother, Marilyn, with her opinions wrapped in perfume. Colin from next door, because he was half family anyway. Friends arrived with nervous energy and paper-wrapped packages. I raised my glass. "Change of plans," I said. "We're celebrating at the Emerson. I want our night to be easy. And they have chairs with real backs and actual dessert." Marilyn cut in, but... "Get in your cars," I said. "Follow me." "Is Alyssa meeting us there?" Vanessa asked. She said she would. I met her gaze. "We'll find out." The caravan pulled out like a parade of cautious hope. The sky was that clear late afternoon blue that makes you think everything is forgivable. We pulled into the Emerson's parking lot, one after another. Through the windows, I saw the soft lighting, the brass rail of the bar, waiters moving like they had been doing it for years. We walked in. The host saw the size of our party and started fumbling with menus. I looked over his shoulder to the back corner, the booth near the painting of the local lighthouse. It is where you sit if you want to be half hidden and half seen. Alyssa was sitting there, across from a man I had seen twice at community events. 40s, wedding ring, the kind of guy who calls everyone buddy. They were not close, but his head was tilted, his hand on her arm. Her smile was not our kitchen smile. It was a new one, polished for a different life. I stopped. The people behind me stopped too, because that is what happens when the person in front becomes a wall. Marilyn saw what I saw, and her voice carried, unmeasured. "Alyssa, what are you doing?" The room felt the impact, the way it always does with a loud mother. Everyone looked. The man slid out of the booth, held up a hand like a car salesman waving off a used vehicle, and quickly walked out through the back hall. He did not look at me, did not look at anyone. Alyssa's face went pale. She stood up, shoved her chair back hard, and reached for words with empty hands. "Ethan, this is..." "It's not loud," I said. "It's not quiet. It's just over." She looked at the crowd behind me. My mom, her parents, Brielle holding the box of cupcakes like it was evidence. Vanessa's hand on Daniel's arm. Our neighbor Colin. People who had eaten at our table, laughed in our yard, and seen us as a unit. It's not, she started. Gordon, who says nothing unless it must be said, exhaled through his nose, which counted as a speech. Marilyn pointed at Alyssa again. My birthday became the least interesting thing in the room. The host stammered something about seating us at the banquet table. He could have offered me a throne. I was not sitting. I looked at Alyssa, looked at our people, and put the keys to our house in my pocket like they were a verdict. I took a step toward her. Get your things, I said. Get out of my house. Her mouth opened, closed. She reached for me, then stopped when I did not lean in. She tried for humor, because it had saved her before. You're being dramatic. Then call it theater, I replied. You're not welcome in my house tonight. Can I just explain? She tried again. I'm not listening, I replied. I turned to the group. Dinner's canceled. We'll have coffee at my house in an hour. No speeches, no questions right now. Marilyn made a sound like brakes screeching on a hill. You can't. I held up a hand. Your family. You're welcome. She's not. That's the rule from now on. It was a new rule, and I stated where the line would be drawn. I walked out. The others followed because momentum is an honest salesman. Behind me, I heard Alyssa say my name like a test. I did not stop. Daniel caught up to me in the parking lot. You want to break something? He asked. You want me to take care of something? No. Good, he said. Because you are. Back at the house, I opened the front door and let people in. The table still looked ready. The roast still smelled like patience. Brielle rubbed my arm once, put the cupcakes on the counter, and started making coffee for 12 people, like someone training for a crisis. Vanessa cleared the plates. Colin collected the candles like he could light a better planet. Marilyn came at me, eyes blazing. You cannot just. I can, I said, looking right at her. And I did. She's my daughter, and this is my house. Gordon touched her elbow. Marilyn, was all he said. She fell silent. Not because she agreed, but because she knows that tone. I went into the bedroom, pulled out 2 suitcases, and put them on the guest bed. I put a stack of boxes by the door. I printed out a list of the things that were hers because logistics are kinder than shouting. Clothes, personal files, makeup, keepsakes. I wrote down times. I wrote that I would be present so nothing would go missing and no one could tell stories later. My phone vibrated. Alyssa, I'm coming home. Let's not do this in front of people. I typed back. You lost the right to decide where we do this. Your access code will not work. Knock on the door. You'll be picking up your things tomorrow at 9 in the morning. Bring someone if you need help. She sent a long paragraph that started with "You're overreacting" and ended with "Don't make me the villain." I did not read the middle. I muted notifications from her number for the night. It was not punishment, it was silence. People settled in the living room like they did not know where to put their faces. I stood where I would normally carve the roast. Ethan, my mom said gently. Do you want to call the... No, I said. I'm not outsourcing this. Daniel cleared his throat. We'll sit, we'll eat, we'll go. No speeches. Exactly, I said. We ate in near silence, which is a confession all on its own. I did not taste anything. I poured coffee because it gave my hands something to do. People hugged me on their way out like I had been injured, and they did not know the etiquette. When the door closed for the last time, I put the leftovers in containers, wiped the counters, turned off the dining room light, and stood in the dark kitchen without the morning radio. I slept on the sofa, not because I needed to, but because I was not going to sleep in a bed warmed by someone who had used our best smile somewhere else. At 8 the next morning, I met Tessa, an old friend from college who was now a family law specialist, at a coffee shop near Main Street. You look like you got punched and decided to go for a run, she said, setting her mug down. I got a text yesterday, I answered. Anonymous, with a pin to the Emerson. I moved the party there and found Alyssa having a private matinee. Tessa let out a low whistle. You did not go straight there at noon. No high-speed chase. I needed context. I want the noise to stop. I want the house to be mine. I want our accounts separated today. I'll handle what's fair. I won't do drama. She slid an envelope across the table. Here's a list of steps. Bank first, then credit cards, then a formal notice. Don't touch the money. Just divide and draw a clear line. Do you want a temporary agreement for the house? Yes, I said. Kids? No. Pets? No. Just us and a yard full of string lights. Okay, she said. Easier for the paperwork. Harder for you. I'm not confused about what hurts, I replied. But pain doesn't negotiate. Tessa smiled, without warmth. You always were a headline writer. I went to the bank right away. Opened a new account. Set up my salary to deposit there. I called the utility company and split the accounts so no one could use my bills as leverage. I canceled the joint card, issued one in my name only, and sent an email with the dry points. This account will cover the mortgage and regular bills. You will receive a list of your items to retrieve. We will communicate only by email regarding logistics. No calls. At 9 in the morning, I was home with the suitcases lined up like they were about to tell the truth. Alyssa arrived with her mother. Marilyn walked in with the expression of someone who owned stock in my hallway. Alyssa's eyes were red. She seemed smaller in the doorway, as if the day had stolen her height. I'm sorry, she started. Say it in an email, I replied. Today's for boxes. That's cold. It's clear, I said. Ethan, she said, stepping forward, offering the softer version. Save that for when you don't like the rules, I said. It doesn't buy any votes. Marilyn crossed her arms. You're not even going to listen to her. I've already listened, I replied. Just not with my ears. Who sent you the text? Alyssa shot back. Who sent you the pin? Why would someone do that on your birthday? I don't know, I said. Maybe someone tired of the situation. Maybe someone who could not stand to see a nice kitchen used for rehearsal. That's not fair, she said. I'm not writing an autobiography, I answered. I'm just organizing the calendar. I made breakfast for you, she said, shocked by her own words, as if they were a receipt. I ate it, I said. I was grateful. That doesn't change the bill. She moved past me into the guest room and started packing clothes. Marilyn followed, muttering about men who overreact and women who make one mistake and pay for it forever. Gordon stood in the doorway, hands in his pockets, and said nothing. Brielle arrived 5 minutes later because she had promised to be present for the removal. She stood beside me, looked at the guest room, then at me. Is it okay I'm here? She asked. I want witnesses, I said. I don't want narratives. Alyssa came out carrying a box of winter sweaters. Where am I supposed to go? She asked, as if I had marked an address. You have parents, I said, looking at Marilyn, who lifted her chin like she had built a place just for this. You're throwing our life away, Alyssa said. No, I replied. You put it on the table. I'm just not picking it up. Can we talk tonight? She tried. Just us. No audience. We'll figure it out. No, I said. Don't you want to know why? She asked. No, I replied again. Because there's no reason that lets me respect myself for staying. She set the box down and came closer. Ethan, please. I'll change. I'll do anything. I'll go to. She stopped before promising therapy because it sounded like a coupon. I'll fix it. It doesn't work like that, I said. You don't put out the fire after the house burns down just to keep the address. Marilyn interjected. He's being cruel. No, he's being concise, I replied. Brielle spoke up before she could, which was new, and I kind of liked it. Alyssa reached out her hand. I stepped back. Don't touch me, I said. We're not doing that. As she divided the silverware, she swallowed hard, took her boxes, and carried them to Marilyn's SUV. She came back for a photo of us at the lake. She stood looking at it for too long. Leave it, I said. It stays with the house. Why do you get to decide? Because I still live here. She took another box. On the porch, Colin was pretending to trim bushes. It was not subtle, and he did not need it to be. Alyssa saw him and straightened up, trying to smile like she was late for book club. He gave a two-finger neighborly wave and kept trimming. He would have a story for the condo newsletter that would never be written. She finished gathering the immediate things by 11 and stood in the entryway with her keys in her hand. Do I still have a key? She asked, as if the rules had changed while she was carrying boxes. Leave it, I said, holding out a small ceramic bowl. You can get the rest on Thursday at 10 in the morning. It will be stacked by the door. This is humiliating, she said. Being humiliated is not the worst thing that happened this week, I replied. She dropped the key in the bowl, metal on ceramic. A clean note in a quiet room. I hate you right now, she said, finally honest. Good, I said. It will help you move on. They left. Gordon looked back over his shoulder once, like a man who wants to fix something with his hands and knows he cannot. When the door clicked shut, I exhaled. Not relief, not grief, Just an inventory check. Lungs still worked, floor still held, coffee still tasted like a decision. I texted Tessa and confirmed the documents. I texted Daniel and said I would be in the workshop this afternoon because routine beats a thought spiral. I also texted thanks. I was planning a maple piece for a client's bookshelf. Daniel watched me work in silence. "You're not going to talk?" he asked. "Nothing to say that makes it better," I replied. "You want me to call the guy?" he asked, meaning the one from the restaurant. "No," I said. "He's done being relevant." Vanessa brought over a casserole because that is what decent people do. She set it on the counter and tapped the dish like it might take offense. "You're going to eat," she said. "If not, I'll feed you myself like you're 90. "Please don't," I said. "But thank you." At 6 in the evening, Alyssa texted again. "I'm sorry. I panicked yesterday. I got ahead of myself. I don't even know what I was doing. I missed the house. Can I come by at 8 just to talk? I made those lemon bars you like." There it was. Softness as a strategy. The first time I might have fallen for it, but today my rules were still fresh. I replied, "Emails only. Pickup is Thursday. Don't show up unannounced." She replied with a heart. Then, "I love you." Then, "Can I fix this?" to my non-response. Another heart. Then, "Please." Silence. On Thursday, she showed up with a different tactic, dressed like the first version of herself. Jeans, a white t-shirt, ponytail, wide eyes. She had a binder with colored tabs. She labeled boxes. She brought a bag of my favorite coffee. "Thought I could make some while I packed," she said. "We can talk normally." "We don't have a normal," I said. "Since when are you so cold?" she asked. "Since I learned that a slow heat is how some people find themselves in a bad situation," I replied. She blinked like the sentence had hit her. "Good," I wanted to say. I wanted it to hurt me too, so I would not forget. She packed things. She tried to make jokes. "You can finally put the couch where you want it without me moving it when I leave for work." "I already did," I said. "Of course you did." She carried her boxes out. On the last trip, she stopped in the hallway and touched the door frame we had painted together. "I don't want to be the bad memory in this house," she said. "Then stop visiting the house as a memory," I replied. That night, she called at 11 p.m. I did not answer. She left a crying voicemail, repeating my name, saying everyone was mad at her, even her dad and friends, that she made a mistake and did not know how to undo it. I deleted it without listening, not out of heartlessness, but because I did not want to memorize that sound and use it against myself later. The unknown number texted one more time, a week later. "You did what I couldn't. Thank you." No name, no PIN, just confirmation this time that I had not imagined it. I looked at it for a minute and archived the conversation. Mystery solved enough. The paperwork moved fast because Tessa works like a surgeon. We signed what needed signing. There were assets, there were receipts, and none of it required shouting. When it was over, I put Alyssa's final things in boxes, left them in the garage, and sent a final email. "Everything of yours is ready. This is the last pickup window. Saturday, 9 to 10 in the morning. After that, I will donate what is left. This will be our last communication, barring legal paperwork. Take care." She replied with a paragraph about how I would regret being so final. I did not. On Saturday, she picked up the boxes. She did not try to come in, maybe because Colin was in his yard again, trimming nothing, watching everything. She left with her mother. I watched the taillights disappear down the street and felt the house exhale for the first time in days. I changed the front door code. I took down the string lights we had hung together, half out of spite, half out of taste, and put up new ones I liked better. I tore out a shelf she had insisted on and built something sturdier from oak. The place felt like my own, the way a tool does when you stop borrowing it. Work steadied me. Clients kept coming because skill does not care about your home life. I opened 2 new accounts. I bought a used F-150 from a guy on the crew who was upgrading. Brielle put me on a hiking group chat that I ignored until the 3rd invitation. Then I showed up and discovered that moving your legs uphill is a decent way to remember simple math. 1 foot, then the other. 3 months later, on a Saturday, I was in the hardware aisle choosing new sandpaper when a woman asked if I knew the difference between coarse and the other kind that eats wood. "You mean aggressive?" I said. "Exactly," she laughed. "I'm teaching myself to fix bookshelves." "I'm Ethan," I said. We stood there comparing grits and the merits of patience over speed. I liked that she did not overthink it. I like that I did not either. Sabrina and I started getting coffee after the hiking group. She asks about my work and listens like she is learning a trade. I do not mention Alyssa because you do not introduce a ghost to a new space. When the topic comes up, I state facts and boundaries. Sabrina gets it, the way adults do. As for Alyssa, I hear about her the way you hear about the weather in a city you left. Secondhand facts. She moved into a small apartment near her job. Her mother's visits got shorter. Her old circle went quiet because people are allergic to what happened at the Emerson. I do not celebrate any of it. It's not a sport, it's a consequence. I kept the house, I kept the breakfast, I changed the station on the radio. Now I cook both breakfast and dinner, and none of it tastes like a negotiation. I still set out 2 plates sometimes, when friends come over, and the table does not care who sits where, because what doesn't read stories does not hold them. Once in a while, usually early in the morning, I think about the text that started my real birthday. Your wife is with my husband. I do not know who sent it. I do not need to know. Whoever it was, they handed me a mirror. I looked in and saw a man who could either explain himself in circles or walk a straight line. I chose the line. The last words I said to Alyssa were at the door with her last box in her hand. She tried one more time. You're really not going to let me come back, she said, like it was a dare. I'm not, I replied. I don't live in the past, and you don't live here. Then I closed the door. Not a slam, just a seal. The house is quiet now, but not empty. I have work in the shop, a truck that starts, a sister who sends sarcastic texts, a few friends who show up with beer and leave with chairs, and a woman who hikes beside me and tells good stories about bad bookshelves. I did not win anything. I just kept my name intact. That is enough. Comment. I think what resonates most deeply in stories like this is not the drama, but the quiet strength that follows. It is a powerful reminder that setting firm boundaries is one of the highest forms of self-respect. True kindness is not always about giving second chances. Sometimes, it is about giving yourself the first chance to heal. Healing is not a destination we wait for, but a home we build for ourselves, one small, deliberate choice at a time. We cannot control the actions of others, but we always have the power to choose our response. Taking responsibility for that choice is often where our peace is truly found. Your future deserves to be built on a foundation of calm, not on the rubble of a past conflict. I hope this story helps you remember that you are the architect of your own peace. Always value your own well-being and walk a straight line toward what brings you tranquility. Take good care of yourselves. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.